911, where's your emergency?
The emergency is on street. Hold on. I'm going back to his house. He's laying in his front yard. He's been stabbed.
Actually, dispatch, we're in the driveway.
Are you guys neighbors?
Medical 300.
My husband heard him screaming help.
9 and 11. Where's your emergency? The emergency is on street. Hold on. I'm going back to his house. He's laying in his front yard. He's been stabbed. That call came in at 5:00 p.m. on July 3rd, 2024. But by then, Michael had already been bleeding for 6 hours. 6 hours inside a house in Clinton Township, Michigan, a quiet suburb low crime. The kind of place where neighbors cut their grass and wave and never imagine that the man next door is dragging himself across his own hallway with 14 knife wounds. Think about that image for a moment. A grown man bleeding out, crawling toward his front door, not because anyone was coming to save him, but because no one was. That image is the entire case.
Right around 5 p.m., according to the police report, a local man named Tom is working in his garage when he thinks he hears someone raise their voice. He couldn't quite make out what they were saying, so he keeps working. Then he hears it clearly, "Help!" and quickly steps outside. That's when he sees his neighbor, Michael, on the ground, covered in blood.
911, where's your emergency?
The emergency is on street. Hold on. I'm going back to his house. He's laying in his front yard. He's been stabbed.
Okay.
Multiple times he's been laying here. His name... You all right? The address is...
Okay. Did the person that stabbed them, are they still there?
Is the person still here? No. He says no. He's got cuts all over him.
Okay. Are they bleeding badly?
Yes, very bad.
How many lacerations can you see?
I can see 3 good ones right now. There's no water in there.
Okay.
Right here.
We're on the way. Does he know who stabbed him?
Do you know who stabbed you? I'm on the phone with him right now. Who stabbed you? I don't know. He says he doesn't know.
Can he describe him? How long ago did this happen?
He said he's been laying here a couple hours. I'm hearing him scream help, and he's bleeding out.
Okay, they're on the way. Do you guys got clean towels you could grab and start applying pressure to them?
I can...
We were on the phone with 911.
We're on the phone with 911 right now. I don't know where his towels are. Here, hold this. I'll be right back. Michael, go grab some towels. Okay.
Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Beyond the Gavel file. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence.
Michael recalled that on the night of the stabbing, he returned home from his job as a supervisor at a food manufacturer. Jennifer was on the couch. They watched TV. Everything felt normal. They put on The Strangers Chapter 2, a violent horror movie, and stayed up late. Around 1:30 a.m., they went to bed. The next thing he remembered was pain. Michael said he was suddenly awakened by 2 sharp stabbing sensations in his leg. He opened his eyes and saw Jennifer repeatedly stabbing him while screaming. He said he had never seen that look in her eyes before. He tried to defend himself, but she had him pinned under the blanket, preventing him from rolling off the bed. He said he saw 2 knives, one pink, one blue. He yelled, "What are you doing to me?" Jennifer turned to him and said, "I don't know what happened. It was a nightmare." That statement became one of the key questions in the investigation. If Jennifer truly believed she was experiencing some type of nightmare or involuntary episode, detectives needed evidence that supported it. If she wasn't, the physical evidence would eventually point them somewhere else. Their job wasn't to choose a theory.
The police report reads like a procedural checklist. Officers arrive, they sweep the house.
Who's he live here with?
He lives by himself, that I know of.
He lives here?
Yes.
Who stabbed you?
Who stabbed you, man?
Girlfriend.
Huh?
Girlfriend? What's her name?
I don't want to talk right now, please.
Give us her first name.
Jennifer.
The suspect is going to be...
Where's your girlfriend at?
Girlfriend. The victim lives here. I don't know if there's a Jennifer registered. But
Is she still in the house?
no.
No?
You said it started at 11
All right,
We go check.
we gotta sweep the house.
He said it started at 11 a.m., but he
Can we get it over there?
he has no
There's been a... She drive.
Charlie, this bitch, he said she's gone, but we're gonna sweep the house. He's supposed to be home alone, according to him. He's pretty out of it, though.
Clinton Township Police, Jennifer, if you're in there, come out with your
Send
hands
medical.
up.
While paramedics are still on the way, the patrol officers split up. One team sweeps the house. Their first priority is making sure no one else is inside the residence, no additional victims, and no suspect still at the scene. Others stay with Michael, putting pressure on his wounds, trying to figure out exactly what happened. At the same time, another officer takes witness statements.
Yeah, for blood throughout the house. There's a key bar in this master bedroom.
Where do you live? Next door? That's your one right over. Okay.
Not this house, but the tri-level.
So what do you know what happened?
We were outside. I was upstairs working. I just logged out. There, he cut the grass, and then he was cutting the back grass. All I know is that my husband came up there about 5 to 5 and said, "Oh my God, it's been stabbed."
Okay.
So I ran with him. He was already on the phone with 911, and that's when we saw him laying here.
Okay.
He was screaming help. My husband heard him.
Okay.
So we came down here and we're trying to talk to him. He said it started at 11 a.m.
Okay.
He said it was his girlfriend. When we were asking him questions, he was getting really mad. He said he didn't want to answer because he was running out of energy. He just wants an ambulance. But he said it was his girlfriend. Her name's Jennifer, and that all this started at 11. I have no idea how many hours he was laying
They
there.
photograph the blood trail. They recover a Tomodachi paring knife from the master bedroom with blood on both sides of the blade. They find towels soaked through near the front door. At the base of the staircase sits a large pool of blood. None of that is disputed. What is disputed is the explanation. Jennifer Marie Hayes told Michael something that morning that became the entire legal question. She looked at the man she had just stabbed 14 times and said, "I don't know what happened. It was a nightmare. Left for dead." Remember that phrase, because the timeline is where the nightmare explanation starts to collapse. Michael told detectives they went to bed around 1:30 a.m. He woke to 2 sharp stabbing sensations in his leg. Jennifer was screaming. She had him pinned under the blanket. He saw 2 knives, one pink, one blue. He yelled, "What are you doing to me?" She stopped. She went to get towels. She grabbed a phone and Michael heard her say, "We need help. My boyfriend is hurt." Then she gave their address and told him help was on the way. But the phone records tell a different story. There was no 911 call. Not one dispatcher in the entire county received a stabbing call from either phone during that window. His own phone was found hidden under the sheets in the master bedroom. She never called anyone. She left him there.
Then, according to Michael, Jennifer froze briefly before going to get towels. He told her to call 911. He said he saw her grab a phone and make a call. He heard her say, "We need help. My boyfriend is hurt," followed by their address. He says she told him help was on its way. Michael lay there in bed, expecting sirens, but no one ever came. He couldn't find his phone, and eventually he passed out. At that point, officers knew Jennifer's SUV was still sitting in the driveway, but Jennifer herself was gone. If she had taken Michael's phone with her, locating that phone might also lead them directly to her.
Said he thinks she may have taken his phone.
Hey. Hey. You get a pressure? No.
We can work on the ID and get in the truck first.
No, I know.
Hey.
What you need?
Sorry, it's not pertinent to medical, but if you can ask him who his phone provider is. She may have his.
Hey. Who do you have your phone through? Who's your cell phone?
Verizon. Metro PCS. Metro PCS.
Metro PCS. Try to ping. Suspect may have a phone with her.
I wonder if she beat it for car seat, and that's his car.
I wonder if she can. That's why I wonder if that car works.
Left for dead. The second time. Now ask yourself this. If Jennifer truly believed she had woken from a nightmare and accidentally stabbed her boyfriend, why did she text a friend at 12:35 p.m. saying, "Come over right away, it's an emergency," while Michael was still bleeding in the bedroom? Why did she tell that friend she had gotten him with a tactical knife and then refuse to explain further? Why did she leave the house, spend the night at Angelica's place, and never once pick up the phone to summon help? A nightmare defense only works if the person wakes up and tries to undo the damage. She didn't undo anything. She put on men's shorts and a hooded sweatshirt and walked out the front door.
One officer's attention turns to a blue GMC SUV parked in the driveway. The registration comes back to 29-year-old Jennifer Marie Hayes of Macomb. She isn't listed as a resident at Michael's home, but officers locate a phone number associated with her. They call, no answer. That immediately creates another problem. Jennifer's SUV is still sitting in the driveway, but Jennifer's nowhere to be found. Did she leave on foot? Did someone pick her up? Is she injured herself? Until officers locate her, they can't rule out the possibility that she's still a danger, to herself or to someone else. Finding Jennifer quickly becomes just as important as processing the crime scene.
That's where Macomb is. Is he in the house where it started?
Did you guys get their name?
We're good on that. Okay. Yep.
So, she's got that car. It's her from Macomb.
Okay. I can hear him now.
How close?
I don't know. Did you guys see anything inside?
How old is he?
Yeah. There's blood all throughout. There's a knife up in the master bedroom. Like a big K-bar. I didn't see any other weapons in plain view.
So the house is clear.
Yeah.
Clear.
With the house confirmed clear, officers continue collecting information. As they wait for the ambulance to arrive, some of them start weighing whether they should just load Michael up and drive him to the hospital themselves.
Did you give anyone
I don't know. I don't have the drone, does it? I'm trying to call the hospital, guys. Anyone got a top? You got
What do you need?
Where are we? He thinks they need to throw him in the back of the patrol car.
What's ETA MedStar?
They're stuck.
right arm and fuel? What did they say?
ETA on MedStar.
You guys think he's got to go now? Like a car?
They're stopped by the train. They should hold up shortly.
If they got more than a 5-minute ETA, I would say we want to get them going.
Who's got a full cage?
You got a floor, right?
Yeah.
What?
Taking them because they're stuck in traffic. They're talking
north of the tracks and they're stuck by the train.
Okay. All right. Whose car? Mine?
Here, I'll pull mine out.
Anyone got a towel?
The forensic evidence doesn't scream nightmare either. 14 stab wounds, one dangerously close to the neck. Doctors ordered imaging to make sure his esophagus wasn't punctured. Michael's lips were blue when medics arrived. He had lost so much blood that first responders discussed whether to just throw him in the back of a patrol car and drive him to the hospital themselves. This was not a single confused strike. This was a sustained attack that continued as he tried to defend himself.
I don't see how you...
6 hours.
Yeah.
Medics document multiple deep stab wounds, all over, including the inner right thigh and one dangerously close to the neck. Michael had lost a lot of blood. He's pale, his lips are blue. They rush him to McLaren-Macomb Hospital, and he ends up in the ICU. At this point, all the officers have to go on is what Michael told them. He was stabbed by his girlfriend sometime around 11 a.m., he passed out, woke up bleeding badly, and somehow dragged himself outside to scream for help. Then the Major Crimes Unit and a forensic team arrive, and once the house is secured, the detectives and crime scene techs start the slow, painstaking work of documenting everything. Before a single thing gets moved, every room is photographed and videotaped. Bloodstain patterns, fingerprints, biological evidence, possible weapons. The goal here isn't just to collect evidence, it's to freeze the house in time, to preserve exactly what it looked like the moment officers walked in. And as they follow the trail of blood through the house, a story starts to emerge. Near the front door, they find towels soaked through. At the base of the staircase sits a large pool of blood. The trail continues upstairs into the master bedroom, where investigators recover a Tomodachi paring knife bearing apparent blood on both sides of the blade. Nearby are additional signs of a struggle. Taken together, the evidence points toward a single attack that began upstairs, followed by Michael's desperate attempt to escape while suffering catastrophic blood loss. Downstairs, detectives recover a black floral bag full of women's clothing and some undergarments nearby, also stained with blood. Every item photographed, packaged, and sent off for forensic testing. As they continue their search for Jennifer, canvassing the neighborhood comes up empty. Nobody saw her, nobody heard her. But they do manage to reach her brother, and that's when the investigation takes a turn. According to police records, Jennifer's brother told investigators that she had been picked up from Michael's home by a friend named Angelica. And the phone records back it up. At 12:35 p.m., Jennifer texted Angelica, "Come over right away, it's an emergency." By then, Michael had already been bleeding for more than 90 minutes. Angelica shows up and finds Jennifer crying. She's wearing men's shorts and a hooded sweatshirt. She won't explain what happened. Angelica tells her to call the police, but Jennifer does not. She spends the night at Angelica's place. The next day, Angelica drives her over to her brother's house, and it's there, according to the brother, that Jennifer says she got him with a tactical knife. That's it. That's all she'll say. A few hours later, Angelica drives her back home, but by now, detectives are building a very different timeline. Later that day, they head to the hospital, and a nurse confirms what they already suspected: 14 stab wounds. One so close to the neck that doctors ordered imaging just to make sure the esophagus wasn't punctured. Michael was stable and expected to recover, but not able to speak with detectives at that time. So here's where they stand: a blood-soaked bedroom, a critically wounded man fighting for his life in the ICU, and a suspect still out there somewhere.
The trail of blood through the house proves that. Upstairs, downstairs, toward the front door. He passed out twice. Twice he woke up and kept moving, because no one else was coming, left for dead. The third time, Jennifer's friends would later tell investigators she had been distraught over something she saw on a phone. They didn't know whose phone or what she saw. The police report doesn't clarify. Another friend said that about a month before the stabbing, Jennifer said she wanted Michael to die. Co-workers at the coffee shop only knew her as Rain. Not Jennifer, not her legal name. Rain, a woman with a secret identity, an OnlyFans account, and a nursing background she wasn't using. Michael described the relationship as normal. No blow-ups, no escalating fights. Nothing that would explain any of this. And maybe that is the most disturbing part. The gap between what everyone thought was normal and what actually happened in that bedroom is the entire story.
Just days after the attack, as detectives were on their way to the hospital to speak with Michael, they received an important update. Jennifer had turned herself in. She retained counsel and invoked her right to remain silent. In doing so, she ensured that the only person who truly knows why those 14 wounds were inflicted wouldn't have to explain them. Therefore, their meeting with Michael would be their first real window into what happened inside that house. Michael tells them he and Jennifer met on Tinder. It started out casual, then got serious. Eventually, she moved in. They had been together for about 2.5 years, and he described the relationship as normal. No recent blow-ups, no escalating fights. Nothing, he says, that would explain any of this. Jennifer worked at a local coffee shop, but didn't make much money, and Michael admitted finances were an issue. He said she had a nursing background and had worked as a pharmacy technician. He suspected she might have had an OnlyFans account, though he wasn't sure. Co-workers later confirmed she did. They also noted something else. They didn't know her real name. They only knew her as Rain. Friends of Jennifer echoed that. They also said she complained that Michael was mentally abusive. None reported physical abuse, but one friend said that about a month before the stabbing, Jennifer told her she wanted Michael to die. Another said that Jennifer was recently distraught over something she saw on a phone. The police report does not clarify whose phone or...
Let me read you the exact sequence from the court records. Michael regains consciousness. He is badly injured. The sirens Jennifer promised never arrived. He knows if he wants to survive, he must save himself. He crawls into the hallway. He loses consciousness again. He wakes up. He keeps moving. He reaches the entrance. He pushes open the storm door. He collapses outside. He screams for help until a neighbor named Tom finally hears him. That is not a nightmare. That is a man who refused to die quietly.
So detectives dug in. They searched his phone logs. They pulled Jennifer's phone records. They even reached out to local dispatch centers to see if an emergency call had come in, but there was no record of a completed 911 call. Not one dispatcher reported getting a stabbing call from either phone during the window Michael described. He had been left for dead. When Michael regained consciousness, he realized he was badly injured. The sirens Jennifer had said were coming never arrived. Bleeding heavily, he knew that if he wanted to survive, he would have to save himself. He crawled into the hallway before losing consciousness again. When he woke up, he continued moving. After finally reaching the entrance, he pushed open the storm door, collapsed outside, and screamed for help until his neighbor heard him. Jennifer was booked into the Macomb County Jail, and bond was set at $250,000 cash or surety. Prosecutors moved forward with a single charge of assault with intent to murder. Under Michigan law, that charge carries a potential life sentence. She pleaded not guilty, and it would be up to a jury to decide her fate. On November 21, 2025, Jennifer Hayes was found guilty of a single count of assault with intent to murder. She was subsequently sentenced to 10.5 to 30 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Days later, her attorney filed an appeal, and that's where the case stands currently.
Jennifer Hayes turned herself in days later. She retained counsel. She invoked her right to remain silent. She pleaded not guilty. On November 21, 2025, a jury found her guilty of one count of assault with intent to murder. She was sentenced to 10.5 to 30 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Her attorney has filed an appeal. That is where the case stands right now.
Jennifer was booked into the Macomb County Jail, and bond was set at $250,000 cash or surety. Prosecutors moved forward with a single charge of assault with intent to murder. Under Michigan law, that charge carries a potential life sentence. She pleaded not guilty, and it would be up to a jury to decide her fate. On November 21, 2025, Jennifer Hayes was found guilty of a single count of assault with intent to murder. She was subsequently sentenced to 10.5 to 30 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Days later, her attorney filed an appeal, and that's where the case stands currently.
But here is what still doesn't add up. The police report says Jennifer was distraught over something she saw on a phone. What was on that phone? Who did it belong to? Why didn't the prosecution introduce that evidence at trial? Why did she snap that specific night after 2.5 years together? The state never had to answer those questions. They only had to prove intent, and 14 stab wounds made that easy. Go to the Macomb County Court records. Pull the public docket for People v. Jennifer Marie Hayes. Read the timeline yourself. Then come back here and tell me one thing in the comments. If you had woken up from a nightmare and found your partner bleeding from 14 wounds, would your first instinct be to call for help or to call a friend to pick you up? I'll wait. This is beyond the Gavel file. If you want more cases where the documents tell a darker story than the headlines, like this video, share it with someone who trusts their own instincts, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next file. The evidence is always there. You just have to read it.